The Valley Current.
Chris, you're amazing. You're calling in from Guatemala, right?
You betcha. You're in San Francisco, huh? Or it looks like it.
They give you a nice place to live, and you got a Starlink, right?
Not a Starlink, but there's my mosquito netting.
Wow, that bed looks pretty comfortable.
Oh, it's very comfortable. I mean, these guys, I had to move the first house I was in. These people were dark Gothic. But here's my picture on my wall. There's my mom.
Wow, she looks great. How old's your mom? How old?
She's 100. She's 100.
She looks great. She doesn't look a day over 80.
I know, she's great. We had a nice chat over the weekend. She called me and she said, "Oh, you're running around with all these wonderful kids. You're sending me these pictures." And I said, "Yeah, they're keeping me young, honey."
You're doing your third or fourth career at this point, right? Or maybe fifth.
Oh, no,
maybe
I
seventh.
think you're right. No, I think maybe the seventh, but I'm glad I'm doing it. I mean, I had a tough time today. We went into Antigua and made a presentation to the Ministry of Agriculture there. And I was not on top of my form because I've been sick for a week. I got a cold from some barber that, of course, you don't have to worry about barbers, but I had a barber and he had a cold and he gave me a lousy flu, which knocked me back.
Oh, that's terrible.
So, well, it pissed me off, really. Inconscionable that the son of a bitch was breathing all over me. But anyway, we go into MAGA, Ministry of Agriculture, and on the walls are these posters that my institution, AICA, which I worked for 12 years in Costa Rica, has been doing. All of the books, you see these books, I've got these manuals here that are used for extension agents. So we're going out and teaching extension agents, not technical stuff. They're going to have to work that out. But we're teaching tools to women who are indigenous. Many of them they speak Spanish, but they're mainly Maya hablantes.
Okay.
And we're trying to teach them how to organize themselves and develop projects. And really the motto here is, Chris, you're planting seeds and you're never going to sit under the shade of those trees.
So you actually have an agricultural background, right? Because you work for a bank that was making loans.
I do, man.
California farmers, right?
I do, but my job here is not so much to teach them how to farm, it's teach them how to learn to farm.
Well, that's better.
That's better. You're trying to teach something sustainable that you leave behind, right?
Right. You're teaching the skill set, not the tool set.
Exactly.
You're at the mindset. You're at the mindset, skill set level, and the tools will come and go.
That's right.
The equipment will come and go.
Exactly.
The chemicals will come and go. So
we're just trying to motivate. They have these groups of women. I mean, the average age is probably in their 60s, right? But they're desperately poor. They don't own land because our target is not landowners. They're off and running.
Right.
You know, what we're doing is we're working with the illiterate Indian women and youth who really, are wonderful people. They're smiling, they're happy, I don't know why we're going to go down and do this white man save them routine because they're doing fine.
It's your Peace Corps volunteer efforts and Peace Corps dollars at work. That's what's happening. Because
I'm working for Trump. Can you believe it? I'm working for Trump.
Well, the Peace Corps organization is under the federal government, right? Isn't it?
It is. We are a separate agency working under the State Department.
Right.
But you're
not USAID, which is getting cut, right?
No, they got completely wiped out. But they're in our headquarters office, and headquarters is going to take a cut. They are in there cut and bloody. It's going to be messy for headquarters.
Right.
But I get sworn in by the ambassador next Tuesday, and after that, they can't fuck with me because, you mess with me, you got to give me an offer. Give me an offer. Make my day. You got life insurance for me. I'm getting a stipend. You guys are paying for all of my food and all of my housing here. So, come at me. Go for it. Do it.
You've actually developed a great retirement plan because effectively you have a job while collecting Social Security. and you're being paid by the federal government, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And they provide you housing. They provide you
They
food.
provide me housing. I've got 3 meals a day. And my lady, she comes in. Look at my bed's all made.
Looks
all
great.
My laundry's done. I don't cook any meals. I have 3 meals a day. It's all paid for.
I mean, you only look like you're in your 50s, but I think the last time I checked, you were in your 70s, right?
74. I turned 75 this year.
Wow. What's the birthday?
Juneteenth.
June 13th?
Juneteenth. June 19th.
19th. Wow,
Yeah,
that's big.
The day they
You
say,
gotta have a party? You gotta have a party down there?
Well, I don't know. Wednesday of this week, in 2 days, they tell me where I'm going for 2 years. Right now, I've been 2 months. I've been 2 months in their headquarters here, the Peace Corps headquarters, training me on how to facilitate trainings, right?
Okay.
How to be a trainer.
Right.
And so on Wednesday, they announce what city I'm going to. And so everyone's betting. We've got a big pool going. It's a betting pool going to see who's going to get the spot near the lake, who's going to be up high on the mountains where it's nice and cool, who's going to the malaria zones, you know, who's going to be 6 hours away.
So it's random. It's a random pick, right? Supposedly.
It's not random. It's not random. They have gotten to know me in 2 months. I've had lots of interviews. They've done lots of diagnostics on me.
You're senior talent. You've got like 50 years of business experience.
Well, this is what I tell them, but I tell them I do not want to be in an office.
Right.
If you guys fuck me and go put me in an office where I have to correct, draft manuals on how to, milk a cow, I'm out of here.
You're not doing that.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to report to your seniors why this guy with 50 years of ag experience lead.
Right.
So they got to make me happy. And I've had to sit down with them twice in interviews, and they're saying, well, Chris, with all this expertise, you'd be great to work with the ministry and help them with their manuals.
Yeah, you don't do that.
All right, write this down. You're sending me out in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to be playing around with Indians, and I'm going to be I'm going to learn these dialects, and I'm going to be running around the ruins and milking cows and a couple of girls, and no offices for me.
Well, milking cows is quite different than milking girls. That was quite a statement you just made there. How old is the average these days?
You didn't record this. You're recording this, aren't you? Oh,
yeah.
Shit.
How old is the average volunteer these days for the Peace Corps? Because when I was a kid, you either went to Vietnam or you were a conscientious objector. But I guess at some point people joined the Peace Corps as well. But
I'm glad to say
not to get too bad of a number, so I didn't end up in Vietnam, but some of my friends did, and some lost their lives.
I know. I lost a lot of friends too. Some of them that came back said it was the worst camping trip they'd ever been on, and they didn't want to discuss anything else. But I was lucky too. I mean, I was there fighting when they went. I was demonstrating at UC Berkeley when they went into Cambodia. I actually flunked my philosophy course because I was completely tear gassed. I couldn't take the exam. Ouch. But God bless Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger, the smartest man in the world, because they signed the peace treaty and my number was called. I was 105. I was getting drafted, and they didn't give a shit that I was ROTC. They said, "No, you're going in. You're infantry, dude." Fuck you.
Right.
So anyway,
did you go? Did you end up going?
No, I didn't. They called the war off. I was having to decide whether I was going to go to Canada or Mexico.
Right.
And my dad said, "Well, you've been hunting with me enough with guns, so I don't think you're going to be a conscientious objector." But going back to the question at the most appropriate question,
the girls. What's the average age for the girls that are volunteering?
Average age is 25. Average age is 25.
Wow. Well, Bill Belichick just married someone that's like 50 years younger than him. Guy who's a football coach.
Well, I don't think I'm going to be the Marion type. I'm sorry. I mean, Virginia's been all over. She's screwing up everything related to the sale of the property. She went down and visited the lawyer. I was on the phone with a lawyer who takes care of Bhavani's stuff, and she said, "Get Virginia out of this loop. She's screwing it up for herself." Man. As usual.
You might see her money in about 10 years, but you'll be ready for it then.
I know. I'm kind of going, girl, you're doing it to yourself. Now she's not going to Brazil. She's going to go back and hang out with her friends, her gay friends in San Francisco. And because she says, well, we were trying to do a soft closing. I was going to be immediate money. I need the money. I need the money. Yeah, everyone knows you need the money, but it's my land, girl. What
Wow,
goes on between you and me should not be public. What goes on
that extra 20,000 is going to cost you about 3 or 4 years.
Not going to cost me. It's going to cost her. It's going to cost her.
Okay. So let me ask you, does it work? Because you obviously could be the father or maybe even the grandfather of some of these volunteers that you mingle with. Is that a weird thing? Because this is a big issue that's coming up in America, this multi-generational workforce. This is a big issue. People are working older.
We can have an entire podcast on this because, as a matter of fact, I've had to become a grandfather to all of them.
Really?
I mean, that we have been going through a huge number of sexual harassment courses that the U.S. government and the Peace Corps has been shoving down our throats.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm sure.
Interestingly, fraternization is verboten between me and staff members.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Because there is, number one, there's a power dynamic.
Right, of course, yeah.
So you can take advantage of people because of your position.
Right.
And all girls under 18 are, of course, verboten because
even if they're Guatemalan, right?
Especially if they're Guatemalan. But I've had to take on the role of being, Papa Cristobal, because every weekend I go hiking with a bunch of them. We drink boxes of wine on top of the mountain. And even though fraternization between the volunteers is obvious, it's happening, they're doing it, they're hooking up, all kinds of stuff's happening. Yeah. I've had to pull myself out of it and say, guys, you remember Star Trek? Well, I'm Spock. Don't even tempt me. Don't even think about it.
Yes.
I'm going to try and keep you guys out of trouble, but they have a great time teasing me because a lot of their moms, their host moms that they live with, they go, who's this guy? Who's this guy? So I go over to their houses with flowers and cookies, and I create all kinds of gossip. So the whole neighborhood is gossiping like this.
Oh, right. So
who's going to land Chris? You've got
a bunch of wingmen or wing people, wingmen and wing women.
Wing women. I got wing women.
Wow.
But I'm also there. I'm also working with them. I'm going, girls, do not go that way. Do not, I know you're of the age. I know the pheromones are going crazy. And I know you've been hooked up. You haven't been hooked up for 2 months. You've been stuck in these rooms. Curfew is at 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're not allowed to go out at all.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, well, now we're extending. We're hanging out in one little bar in town. But I got everybody in trouble because I stopped to visit a godson of my host father. And all of a sudden he's pouring beers for everybody. And I'm going, no, we don't. This is 4:00 in the afternoon. Really? No, it's my birthday. I have to celebrate. So sure enough, we got reported. So I got dragged in.
Ouch.
I was the leader of Beergate. And it became a teaching moment. A teaching moment because, in fact, in these small Catholic Indian communities,
right,
women drinking beer or going into bars are known as prostitutes.
Really?
So I nearly engineered the downfall of the Peace Corps reputation in the country. Because we're right near headquarters. We're in the village where headquarters is. We're in the headquarters village, So all of a sudden,
what's the name of the village?
It's a long one. Here you go. We're in Santa Lucia, Milpas, Atlas, Zacatepeques, Guatemala.
Wow! And how far is that from the main airport?
We're an hour from Guatemala City.
Okay.
And we're an hour from Antigua, which is the big tourist spot.
Right. Which one of those is considered the heritage site? Is that Guatemala City?
No. It's Antigua.
Antigua.
Yeah, that was the Spanish made it a capital after their other town got hit by a volcano and an earthquake and all that.
Right.
But Guatemala City is off limits. I'm not allowed to travel there because it's so dangerous. And there's a couple of other zones in the country which we're not allowed to go to, mainly because of malaria and Zika and, mosquito-borne diseases. That's why they got me in this mosquito net. And I really, when I went to the beach, I had to take a medicine.
Okay.
Against malaria 2 days before I went.
Okay.
So it's a serious thing.
So there's still what might be called sort of third world.
Very much so. Very much. I mean, it's nothing like Mexico or Costa Rica. I mean, Mexico is like Southern California compared to this place.
Right. You're enjoying being there. It sounds like, right? You're enjoying being.
I am. I am. I mean, I was a big muckety muck in my life, and I used to be number 2 in all these big agencies that were supposed to take care of all these people, and of course, it hasn't done that.
Right.
And of course, I think I probably went to Rome far more than I should have. I went to these conferences and ate pizza and drank lots of wine on the company bill when it should have all been going to poor people.
Well, so you're seeing the side of it that would have been nice to see maybe at the start of your career, right? In some ways,
I did see this at the start of my career, but of course, as you go up in the hierarchy, you get more benefits and you start to go to more meetings in beautiful places, and you forget the mission of the agency. Let somebody else take care of it. In fact, today a friend of mine sent me a WhatsApp on the name of one of the new board members of the World Food Prize in Iowa. And this is the ex-director general of one of my old agencies, Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture.
Right.
And I really just wanted to puke into my shoe because this fellow exemplifies what people will do just to climb up the social ladder and the political ladder and the prestige ladder and join all these boards and participate in all these bullshit meetings, which are held in beautiful places.
Right.
And they have completely abandoned any personal responsibility that's in it for themselves. They have only worried about their expense reports. They've only worried about making sure their pension was the max. And you see these people, and it just turns your stomach because I'm not doing this kind of as penance and, banging my hair shirt and stuff. But I do feel a sense of mission, and I do feel that I should give back.
Right.
And sitting on the beach and drinking beer with Jack and Lee was wonderful. Was wonderful, and that's what I should still be doing.
Christmas, New Year holiday, it was perfect, right?
It was perfect, but I realized that sitting on the beach and chit-chatting about the price of beer in town and real estate prices and all of that was something I can do when I retire.
Right.
I'm not ready to retire.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
I mean, I just decided that I had tried to get involved with the communities in Todos Santos and with a couple of do-good initiatives, but I recognized that the population in that city, in those beach towns, is focused a little bit on, the surf and hanging out and staying healthy. Nothing against it. I went to yoga classes. I went with you.
Right.
All of that wellness is perfectly normal and wonderful things, and I hope I can still do that.
Right.
But I was missing something. Because all my life I've felt that I really need to be doing what my dad inculcated in me. But you have to go, Chris, and you've got to go earn your spurs. You've got to go do the right thing, and then you can take it easy. Go visit your kids. Go buy a nice new car, and cruise around and enjoy life. But you've got to do your part. And as much as I was trying to get my gardener, Federico, and his family squared away and give them a lot of food out of my own garden, and buy his car and let him pay me back over time and help him with his house.
Right.
That impact, I love that. Their daughters are going to be wonderful friends. I mean, I'm doing it for their family. He's brought over his brothers. He's brought over his sister. He's doing what he can to save his family from the cartels that are tearing up the mainland and stuff.
Right.
But When I was looking for friends to go work with, I talked to a bunch of friends who do documentaries,
Right.
and you've stimulated me with your podcasts because
Right.
you're giving a lot more back than taking. You're contributing. You've got a huge network of friends, and you're stimulating people, including me.
It's
You've been
right.
a great stimulator.
I try to do that because I think human potential really is something that requires at least two people. Like the whole reason that the internet has been so successful is because multiple people all participate. And without that, nothing would really happen. And in many ways, we all spur ourselves on to do really good things. And what you're doing has got to be like 1 in 300 million people in the US ever do this. I don't know if you've run into anyone even close to parallel to you, because you've had a successful career. You could have just retired in Mexico or the US or wherever you chose to do it, but you joined the Peace Corps at the age of 74. You passed all the exams, which were quite rigorous. Most people would fail, but Donald Trump would have failed. Donald Trump would have had
I'm sure.
right?
But Jack, kudos to you, because I think you had a great deal of influence on me, having a little bit more introspection into, okay, Chris, what is real for Chris? What is real now for you in your life every day when you wake up? And I walk past your house on my way to the beach, and I go, Jack is doing it too. Jack is out there. He's on his podcast. He's encouraging people to live their dream. He's encouraging people to dig a little deeper. He's encouraging people to participate in life instead of just go to sit on the beach, smoke a joint, have some beer, and watch the sunset. Right. And, kick a couple dogs on the way home.
Right.
So you get kudos to you too, Jack. You and Lee.
Well, thank you. But let me ask you, what do you see happening over this 2 years if you get your dream location, which sounds like it'll be either on a lake or in the mountains somewhere? What'll actually happen? You'll be training these women on farming techniques, or what will actually play out?
All right. Well, what happens is that these guys sort out the criteria for selecting my site is based on, number one, all right, what has Chris said what he wants?
Okay.
And I've said, listen, I want to be involved in the local life of a village for 2 years. I want to immerse myself in a prehistoric Indian community that's been there for 5,000 years.
Right. So this is like a Mayan community?
Exactly.
Basically a Mayan community, right?
Exactly. Okay. So I'm moving into a Mayan community. I'm going to learn the language. I'm going to try and appreciate a little bit what my ancestors have gone through, and not, just my dad who worked at the CIA, whatever. Secondly, I've said, don't put me in a shithole, please. The first house they put me in was a dump.
Okay.
It was right on the main road. The trucks and buses were going by at 4:30 in the morning and vibrating me out of my bed.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah, I hate when that happens. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I've been there. Yeah.
And then the family that I was with, they were not very well aware of what their role is in taking on a volunteer. They're supposed to be outgoing. They're supposed to go for a walk and go to the market together. Let's go for a little trip down to Antigua for the weekend. They didn't get it. They didn't understand it all. So, I mean,
they get paid. They get paid too, don't they?
Yeah, they got paid.
They get paid, right?
That's right. So after 2 weeks, I realized there's no connection with this family. They're not interested. They want the money. They don't want to hear from me.
Right.
And I said, without sleeping, I'm done. So within 2 weeks, Peace Corps said, fine, Chris, we found another house. So I moved. Delightful family, young kids. They take good care of me. I cooked up a huge spaghetti dish on Saturday morning, and we're finally going to have it tonight. I mean, we're talking mushrooms, meatballs, onions, bell peppers, garlic, everything. We're going to have a big dinner finally, but that's my part for them.
Because you're in a bedroom, you're in a spare bedroom in the host house.
I'm just in a spare bedroom. I got a closet here with all my junk in it.
Nice. I
mean, I got a mirror. It works. It's fine. I mean,
you moved in with just carry-on luggage, right? You went pretty light there, right?
Yeah, I'm light. Absolutely. I got my paints with me. I got a I got a DVD player and a projector so I can project presentations. Because
nice.
Here mostly. In fact, I'm just getting ready. I've got to write a proposal tonight and I'm going to be writing it on alternatives for animal feed, and I've got to do it on paper. And I went to the store today and had them print out some pictures. So,
Wow.
I've got these pictures that I'm going to do of what it's like to grow chickens when you don't have concentrated feed. I can't see. I don't know if you can see
So
anything.
let me ask you, when you work on stuff like that, do you use AI or you just use your own knowledge and experience?
I don't use AI. It's not sophisticated stuff at all that I'm doing. Not sophisticated.
Okay.
But going back to the site selection, we are working with the ministry. So we sit down annually, I guess, and decide, all right, what would you like to have the volunteers do?
Right.
Because they've got agriculture, they've got maternal health, they've got youth and development, they've got community development.
Because it's about 200 people total, isn't it? The total.
Well, yeah, there's about 6,000 volunteers around the world.
Right.
Guatemala's been operating since 1962, one of the first countries. They've never been closed in spite of the CIA in 54. No, sorry, the CIA and the Cuban Missile Crisis. They didn't get thrown out, even though the CIA used Guatemala as a training base for the invasion. In Cuba.
The Bay of Pigs invasion.
In the Bay of Pigs. The Bay of Pigs.
Wow.
And that actually caused a huge rift with the military here because it was a military dictatorship, but a number of officers rebelled and said, we are not the stepchild of the U.S. We will not support the U.S. being on our territory. And they had shootouts. They had shootouts.
Wow.
They went in with tanks and wiped out a couple battalions and said, okay, we take care of those guys. With American support, of course, with American support.
Yeah.
But one of the things that's interesting is in all of our training, there's been no mention of the CIA or the banana companies. We don't talk about that. It's kind of like fraternization. But anyway, the ministry and the Peace Corps decide on what their priorities are. Interestingly, Trump and his boys have cut youth training and community development. The Doge people came into the headquarters.
Department of Government Efficiency.
Right.
Elon Musk.
They cut 2 programs out. They cut 2 programs right away. They cut all manuals have to delete any reference to climate change or gays or lesbians.
Or DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
All that's gone.
Yeah.
So we don't get hard copy. All of our documents are now electronic because they're still in the midst of trying to verify whether Doge will agree with the new volumes. Anyway. Mm-hmm. So they're going to jointly decide where they want to put us. And tomorrow night or Wednesday night, they're going to tell me, and a lot of people are probably going to be disappointed because they have their expectations very high.
Yeah.
My expectations are low. You guys know you know my criteria. So you just treat me fairly, and
you're the better negotiator. So they're going to take care of you, Chris.
I hope so.
All you need to do is say, look, you take care of me, or I help all these kids learn how to negotiate. And then you have like 50 to 100 others who are going to be really tough as nails, right?
That's right. Or I'm going to go to Washington and I'm going to fix your wagon.
Does everyone sign up for 2 years? Is that the minimum thing,
Yep.
2 years?
That's it. We were 21 of us. One of the guys quit, guy from Buffalo, New York, but his head wasn't in it. He had a job waiting for him and a girlfriend. And
the 2 years starts after you get the assignment, or the 2 years have already started now?
No. We've been doing 2 months, so it's 2 years and 4 months. 2 years and 2 months. So we start in 10 days. So as soon as once we get our site, then the next week is all going to be site preparation because we're going to be coordinating with people in the ministry.
Right.
So there's rural extensionists and there's community leaders. So we work with community leaders and with the ministry.
Nice.
And we work with those people and we develop courses. The first 2 months, May, June, and into middle of July, I will have very few responsibilities. My responsibility, and this is really like casework for CIA, is to learn about my neighborhood and earn their confidence.
Yeah, you're doing your dad's work. I'm doing my dad's work. Used to train his various agents to do for the CIA. You're right there.
I've got to integrate myself into the village. And in fact, in one of our classes, Your job is going to be go to shadow a community leader. You're going to shadow them.
You're just being screened for the CIA, Chris. That's really what's going on.
But believe it or not, all of us had to sign 3 documents. There was one document I had to sign before they even approved me. There was one when I got here, and there was another one last week verifying in signature with dates and witnesses that I will not work with the CIA or any covert information agency of the Guatemalan government.
Wow, that's so interesting. Yeah, you're going to get all sorts of propositions at this point. You're going to see all sorts of stuff play out.
Well, it's kind of funny because
there's a really good film. I'm trying to remember. There's actually 2 different versions of the same film. One involves an Israeli double agent, and the other one involves a British double agent. I got to get the names of the films because you can get them. I assume you can get Netflix because you got fast enough internet there.
Sure. No. I got Netflix and everything.
I got to send you those films because you'll watch them and say, "Hey, this could end up happening to me. It's could end up happening to me."
Well, you know that little. I sent you a snippet of the only thing that I've done to date, which is like here I am at week 5, and it's my impression. It's because I think what I need to do is probably with a little bit of your guidance, go through and say, okay, what's really happening deep down? But in that clip, Steven Spielberg did a movie about, finding Oscar.
Right.
And Steven Spielberg did it about the murders that took place here with CIA funding back in the 70s.
Wow.
And the 80s. 70s and 80s.
Well,
The Guatemalan military came in and did complete erasure of villages. 200,000 Indians who only had machetes were killed by Guatemalan death squads financed and trained by Ronald Reagan and his boys.
Well, really? the beauty that you're going to see in a few minutes after you have your dinner is there's going to be an automated summary that's more bulletized of everything we discussed, because this can go into your journal. And then there's going to be a text summary that you can cut and paste into your memoir. And you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed as how much organization AI will do with what we do. And maybe we'll do it weekly, maybe we'll do it monthly, depending on what you are capable of doing. I'll keep giving you that feedback. And you'll find that this book that you're writing will just instantly flow because you'll have so much raw note material to pick and choose from. It's like it's going to save you a lot of typing. It's going to save you.
That's wonderful, because I have been trying to. I've been really busy. These guys do work my butt off. It's 8 to 5 every day, and we have to run out to these little villages and do little practices and things like this. All of it very well guided and very professionally organized, because Peace Corps has been at it for 60 years.
Well, let me tell you something. If you are able to then transmit any of this to your 100-year-old mom, you'll keep her alive for at least another 10 to 20 years.
Oh, I am.
She'll be seeing that you're doing your dad's work. You're doing your dad died as a relatively young man relative to what your mom did. Your mom's at 100. When did your dad die?
He died at 52.
Wow. I remembered that. I remember you told me that. I was like, wow. And your mom's remained single for the remaining 50 years, right? She's a couple years younger, isn't she?
She was only 2 years younger. And she got married on the flip side to the family accountant, and that was a disaster. That lasted a year.
Wow.
As an accountant, he asked her to pay for half the honeymoon.
That was it. It was game over right there. That's good. That's funny.
She left him high and dry.
Wow.
Yeah, he took her to Kenya, where he was a USAID accountant.
Okay.
And Lynn made him ride bicycles all the time because he was overweight. And so you can identify with that. So he was running all around Kenya on his bicycle. But finally, he got slimmed down and stronger. And they got one time he was pedaling up to the top of this hill, and he was, he's always shouting at her to hurry up.
Yeah.
And he gets to the top of the hill, and he forgot to pull his feet out of the stirrups.
Oh, no.
So he falls over, and he breaks his shoulder, his elbow, and his knee.
Ouch.
So she visits him in the hospital.
Yeah.
And there he is everything's strung up, with strings and ropes up in the air.
Right.
And she says, here's a document for you. Read it at your leisure. I'm out of here. Bye.
It's a divorce petition.
She left him while he was strung up in the hospital.
That probably killed him. That probably was it for him, right there.
It was pretty funny.
He's certainly not alive now, right? He's not alive now.
He's long gone. They're all long gone. I mean, she doesn't have any friends. All her friends' kids are gone, and most of her kids' grandchildren are gone too. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, she sounds like a real sturdy person.
She's sturdy.
Sure. She's in California, right?
Yeah, she's living alone. She says it's nice to have a visitor and it's nice to have a phone conversation, but it's all over, Chris. I got another TV program to go to.
She takes care of herself, right? 100%.
Yeah. Well, we've got a Mexican gal coming in there. She used to be a cleaning lady, but now they're just good friends. And
nice.
My mom says, "Thank you very much. I can clean my own toilet."
Nice. Wow, that's great.
I mean, every once in a while she has a bender.
So, Chris, stay healthy. We'll do this again. I'll put in my book that you're available on Monday nights, and you'll tell me if it's a good time or not. I'll send you some stuff, and we'll build on this because I think you're going to see some interesting themes play out as this thing evolves over time. And
I think you're right.
Interesting. It'll be interesting to watch together because I'm sure you'll show me a lot of stuff that you're doing that will be quite interesting for everyone, including the people that listen to the podcast. Because I always throw in somebody that's doing something pretty amazing when people say, well, what do you do when you get to a certain age? Join the Peace Corps. That's what I'm going to say to them. Join the Peace Corps, man. Follow what Chris Hansen is doing. He's figured it out. You probably extended your life for another 35 years, Chris. Seriously.
Maybe.
All right. Take care. Talk to you later.
Tune in next time on The Valley Current.